How's it going? Welcome to my channel. I'm Justin Davis, and if you know DJI, you might know the Drone Camps channel because over the past 5 years, I've done over 900 drone videos, and today we're doing a special video for the DJI Robomaster S1. And why is it special? Well, it's one of the first land-based robots that we've done on the channel. Normally on this channel, we do flying robots, so you can look back and see a whole bunch of drone videos, tutorials, reviews, and all kinds of awesome stuff to keep you guys up in the air. But today it's all about the S1, and this is ground based, so it is different for me and exciting. And if you're building this from home, or you're at school or some other type of educational event, this will be a family friendly video, and you can follow along with your young folks at home and build up your S1 from scratch. We're not going to waste a lot of time, and we're going to get right to the point. So we're going to simplify the manual. It is about 75 different steps in the manual, but we're going to use YouTube to build yours. Thank God for YouTube. That's what it's all about. Here we go.
Super exciting. Here we go, guys. We're going to build your Robomaster S1. First thing you want to do is take everything out of the box and put it on a large table so you can see everything. Go ahead and start out with the two wheel assemblies. We're going to take some grease and just put in each of those peg holes. We're going to be putting pegs in these. Go all the way around on both the small part and the large part of the wheel. Next up, you're going to go ahead and grab your assembly tray, and the wheel fits right in there, the large part. Sits just like that. We're going to take these hubs and put them on top of this main hub. You want these little teeth to go through this silicone part like this. Go ahead and press it down in all four. Make sure we do all four. Now there's a little point right here. You want to make sure that lines up with this red dot. Now drop it down into the hub. We're going to take each of these little pegs, these spin around, and we'll allow the wheels to articulate left and right, forwards and back. And I like to do it this way so I can see where the hole is and make sure that it's in the hole. They don't snap in, they just kind of sit in the hole. Now you have all of those. Go ahead and make sure that the hub assembly is in the middle again, and put the top on. We're going to turn it till it clicks. You should hear a clicking noise right there. Next up, we're going to go ahead and put 5 of these smaller screws. These are little tiny M2 size screws, but they have sort of a thread on them so that they're not like a machine thread. They're more like a wood screw thread. It kind of threads into the plastic. Now all 5 are done there, and you've built up your first wheel. Looks pretty good. That wasn't too hard. Now we're going to do that for all 4 wheels, and you should have 2 extra rollers left. So you can go ahead and put those in your hardware box. Next up, we're going to put the guide on for your wires. Go ahead and take the same type of screw. We're going to just screw that into the main chassis. Now we're going to flip this driver around so it's on the M3 size, and we're going to pick up one of these. It's magnetized, which is nice. Now we're going to put 6 bolts in to put the frame together. This is just going to hold the frame, 2 pieces of the frame together, front and back. Now you're all done with that. Not bad. Now we're going to take the drive hub assembly and put that together. Again, I love that this is magnetized. And there's 4 screws for this. Put all 4 of those screws in, and it should look like this, with those 2 pieces facing back and the 2 hub pegs facing forward there. And this needs to go into the slot right here. Once it's down, you're going to take the little H piece. You're going to put the H piece in on top of the hub shaft like that, and it should snap in and be level with the front, the top, and the bottom of the frame. Now we're going to put 2 screws in the bottom and the top to hold this in and all in place. We're going to grab those M3 size screws and go ahead down through that hole and start on your first one. Looking good. Now we're going to do the second one on the top, and now we need to do the ones on the bottom. So we have 2 screws on the bottom here, and they're pre-Loctited, so you don't have to Loctite these, which is great. It's really nice of DJI to do that. So now it articulates back and forth. Now we're going to take our PDB, and we need to install that. This is our power distribution board. It should click into place just like that. Now it won't move. We can plug in the main cable here. We're just going to seat that. Don't overpress. should be flat. Now we're going to put in our sensors, our LED sensors. They have 4 little sort of slots and they'll slide and click in. Now we're going to take one of the M3 screws and just go ahead and drive it through. And the second one right there for you. That holds it well into place. Now we're going to do the other side. We're going to put 2 screws in that, and that will hold it into place. Never over tighten these guys. They just need to be firm. If you over tighten it, it'll crack things. And now I made a mistake here. You need to use the longer cable because this needs to reach the PDB from the side of your robot. There's a little slot here. Click it into that slot. We're going to put 2 screws in through there. We're going to actually snake the cable through here. Make sure it's slotted in through there. Now we're going to put the same size M3 screws through there. Go ahead and put another one here. Not bad. Now we're going to pull that cable through and plug it into this slot right here next to the red slot. Now we're going to do the other side. Go ahead and plug that one in. Notice this is the longer cable, not the short one. You're going to snake it through here. Now go ahead and put one of your M3 screws through here and through this slot. Now we're going to put this wire down on the cable harness. Looking good there. We're going to pull it up through here. We're going to plug it into this slot to the far left there. Now we're going to take the front bumper and put this LED sensor in here. 2 screws right here. It's all fairly easy so far. Now we need some power to that sensor, so we're going to go ahead and plug in a cable. And the way this works is we're going to go ahead and fasten it right there, and then it's going to come up through this slot right here. It's made for that, and it's going to plug right in here to this slot. And these have hinges on them, so once you screw this down, it'll sort of slide into place. You're going to take those same M3 screws and just go ahead and bolt that down. On that side, bolt this side down. And now your hinge should work like this. That's pretty cool. So now we're on to the motor hub assemblies. And first thing we're going to do is just slide this cable through here. And you want to line it up at the top and with all 3 of the screw holes right here. Now grab those same type of screws, the M3 screws, pre-Loctited, I love it. And just screw all 3 of those in there. Make sure everything is lined up perfectly and it's pushed up against the hub wall because you'll get some wobble if it's not. So now we need to install it onto the chassis, and we're just going to feed this motor power wire through here first and then up through there and up through here like that. Pull it all the way through, take out some of the slack, go ahead and slide this on. There are slots that it needs to go in. If it's a little bit too tight, you can loosen it up and it'll slide right in. Don't forget to tighten it back up. Now it's going to go through here. We're going to push it down on that top wire holder and this one here, the middle wire harness, and then we're going to push it up through here to get to the power distribution board. And now it needs to plug into this slot right here. Looking good. So now we're going to take another M3 bolt here, and we're going to go ahead and do both of those on the bottom, and now we need to do one on the top. And now you've installed your first motor. Now we need to do 3 more. Looking good so far. It's not so hard, is it? Not so hard to build up this robot. It's actually a lot of fun. So we're going to go ahead and do that again. Same thing, put the harness through there, sort of snap it into place, pull it underneath, and then we're going to tuck it in through the slot to get into the PDB area, and it's going to get pretty full of wires in there by the time we're done. So now we're on to our next motor. Slide that into place, and these don't go through on the inside, they go on the outside toward the inside like that, and this wire will slide up again through that slot into the front here to the PDB, and it's going to plug in right there on this spot. Make sure your wires are nice and neat. Now go ahead, don't forget to screw in your bolts to hold your wheel on. If you don't, your wheel will fall off when you try to drive it. I'm speaking from experience. So go ahead and slide this one in. Tuck that through. Tuck your wire into there like that, and bring this one in through. Now it should be getting pretty tight. There's a lot of wires coming through there at this point, and that plugs into that slot right there. Looking good so far, guys. Now don't forget to put your screws in. One on the top, two on the bottom again. And another one right here. Looking good. Now we have 4 motors on there with ESCs built into the motors. It's so awesome that they did that. So now it's time to put your wheels on. Go ahead and grab the flat panhead looking screw and make sure that the holes line up. The front of the motor and the back of the wheel has 3 posts, and you want to make sure it spins like that. If it has any wobble when you put it on, the posts aren't lined up. And I'll show you an example of that coming up. Go ahead and put this one on, spin it to make sure it doesn't wobble. And we're going to put this one on, and don't over tighten these guys. They want to be firm. And now the final one here, and that one has wobble. So I'm going to need to take that one back off and fix that. See that wobble? It shouldn't do that. Make sure yours don't wobble. And now we have articulating wheels. These are so cool. Really, really neat that DJI did that. So now take this piece right here, and we're going to put this sensor on. So go ahead and click that down. Take 2 of your M3 screws there and drive them in. Pretty easy. It's kind of a repetitive process so far, but enjoyable if you're taking your time in this process. Now you have these 2 posts here, and you need to put these 2 grommets on the front to give this top piece some dampening. You can have a top plate. And again, make sure you use the longer cable, not the short one. The short one's not going to reach your power distribution board. So you're going to go ahead and plug in that longer cable, and that has to go all the way to the other side of the robot. We're just going to snake it in through here. And then we can put this top plate on. We're going to pull out some of the slack. We need 2 bolts right here. So we're going to grab another. We're going to grab the longer one this time out of your pack for the front part, and another screw here. Looking good. Now we need to do 2 on the top, and those are the M3 screws. Go ahead and drive those down. 1 on each side. Very good. So now we're going to take that long cable. We're going to run it all the way through to the power distribution board. Now we have it coming up through here, and it's going to plug in right here. Not bad. So now we need to put the head of our robot on. We're going to use these little bit larger screws now. And you have 3 points that need to line up here and face a certain direction. You can see them here on the chassis. Make sure that lines up, and go ahead and put your robot's articulating head on. And go ahead and take those screws, a little bit larger screws, and go ahead and fasten those down until they're just gently tighten them up. You'll need 4 screws to hold that down. 4 bolts to be exact. Now we're going to take our infrared laser cannon, and we're going to put this sensor on the very top of it. It just slides on just like this. So go ahead and slide your sensor back. Should click possibly, and then you have 4 bolts to install your infrared cannon. Now again, those same M3 bolts, we're just going to go ahead and drive those down. 4 will hold this on. Once you have all 4 done, you have installed your cannon. It should look something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to plug in the cannon to this bottom port right here, and this wire will plug into the top. Now this is your intelligent controller for the S1. It has 4 bolts. It's going to mount right on top of the top platform. So go ahead and put that into place. Now we're going to drive the first one, the second one here, the third one, and the 4th one right here. Very nice. Now we need to get some power to this unit. Starting to look like a robot now, though. We're going to plug it in the very back, or actually in the front, and then we're going to snake this down right through here and plug it into that second port up. Looking good, you guys. Now let's go ahead and plug in this cable right into this slot right here and snake it through here. Awesome. Awesome work. So now we need to power the head unit. So take one of those shorter cables and feed it up through that slot. It's getting really tight now. And the second cable here to power it, and stuff that one up through that slot. Now the first one we're going to plug into, the first one on the left into that slot, and the one on the right we're going to plug into this slot. Looking good, you guys. Now we need 2 M3 screws to hold down this top plate. It will snap down, but they suggest putting these screws through. Now we get to install the FPV camera. I'm very excited about this. Just going to take another one of those M3 screws and a second one here. Now we need some power, so grab that short USB-C looking cable, plug it into the FPV camera and to the intelligent controller. It should look something like that. Super awesome. Now we need to take the bottom plate, 4 screws on the bottom plate to hold that in. That's just to protect all of our wires. Keep mud and dirt off of those. Looking good. Now you can take some of those pellets and put them into a bowl of purified water. It says for about 4 hours to soak those. And then pull them out of the bowl and let them dry. And we can load them up into our ammunition canister right here, and that just slides in right on top of that unit right there. Now this little part right here is your trapdoor for your battery bay. You can push that button and it'll release up, and you can take your battery, which has a smart LED indicator on it, which I love. Just like all DJI stuff, go ahead and press once and press again, and it will power up your robot. And you'll hear a noise, something like this. Now go ahead and download the Robomaster app. We're going to go ahead and connect to the robot. You'll need to connect to the Wi-Fi, and the password is 1234 1234. Now we're going to do online activation. So it's going to take you onto your home Wi-Fi, and you're going to need to connect to the internet through the app. Register with your email address and a password, and it's going to activate it online. So now that it's activated, I can go back to the onboard robot Wi-Fi and connect. Now it's activated. Now we're going to continue, and we have to lift up the robot and spin each of the wheels. It wants to know which wheel is which, and you also need to test out the LED indicators for the sensors as well for touch. And now at this point, it's pretty much up to you to explore the app and have some fun with your robot. You're all done.
All right, guys, congratulations. You went through all the steps and you built yours up. Hopefully yours looks something like mine right here. And now you can begin to play around with the battle mode, the solo mode, and maybe even the programming mode. So if you want to teach your kid how to program, it has the very fundamental basics. I believe there's Python in there and a few other languages. DJI will keep doing firmware updates, so make sure to update your firmware on your S1 before you start playing with it, because what comes out of the box is not updated. So special tip there, go ahead and spend about 20 minutes to update the firmware on this guy and then start playing around with it. My first recommendation is going to be to use solo mode to try to learn how to just drive this little guy forwards, backwards, left and right, and those side-to-side wheel actions. It's pretty cool. Also, it'll do 360s. And you can use this indoors or outdoors, but start out with the indoors and just try to get the basics of it before you take it out in the street and start sort of driving it around and hitting curbs with it. It does seem to be fairly durable from front to back. It has bumpers on there, and you can get extra wheels and parts and stuff from DJI, so it's not the end of the world if you break stuff. So DJI has plenty of parts available for the S1. So thanks again for watching this video and hanging out with me while we built the S1 together. It was a really rewarding process, and if this was a gift to you from one of your parents, your mom or your dad, say thank you to your mom and dad, because this is probably one of the coolest toys to come out in the past few decades. I mean, this thing is so cool. I wish they had something like this when I was a kid. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching my channel. I'm Justin Davis. Take care, and please click subscribe down below so you can find out the newest drone videos and the newest S1 and other robot videos on the channel. Take care, guys. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one. I'm going to play with mine.